Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the House Committee on Municipal Government and Housing. Today is Thursday, March 18th, and we are now coming from the House Lounge of the State House. Okay, what we have this evening, we're going to move 3 bills out, and I will start with the first one. House...
And I'll take the roll call
Oh,
now.
yeah, excuse me. We need a roll call first. Sorry about that. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Chairman Hull,
Present.
First Vice Chair Fogarty,
Present.
Second Vice Chair Speakman,
Present.
Representative Alzate,
Present.
Representative Barrows, Representative Cardillo,
Present.
Representative Edwards, Representative Kazarian,
Here.
Representative Charlene Lima, Representative Stephen Lima, Representative Morales,
Present.
Representative Morgan, Representative Price,
She's here. She just popped in.
Representative Morgan,
Unmute
I
yourself,
see
please.
you.
I'm here.
Representative Price, Representative Shanley,
Present.
and Representative Williams. That completes the attendance. You have a quorum, Mr. Chair.
Could you mute your mic when you're not in use, Ms. Morgan, please? That's okay. Thank you. And for schedule for consideration this afternoon, we will move first House Bill 5950 by Representative Sakachi, House Resolution creating a special legislation commission to study the entire area of land use, preservation, development, housing, environment, and regulations. I ask for,
Motion to approve.
Second.
motion has been moved and seconded. Roll call vote. Madam Clerk.
There was a motion to move House Bill 5950 for passage. Chairman Hull, is that your vote?
Yes.
First Vice Chair Fogarty, is that your vote?
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Speakman, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Alzate, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Cardillo, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Kazarian, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Stephen Lima, is that your vote? Representative Stephen Lima?
Yes, sorry.
Representative Morales, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Morgan, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Shanley, is that your vote?
Yes.
Mr. Chair, I see Mr. Representative Lima is present.
He voted yes.
Did he say yes?
Yeah, he popped in,
Okay.
yeah.
He voted yes, Madam Clerk.
Thank you. That completes your roll call vote. Your motion carries.
Thank you. We'll now move on to House Resolution 5953. We will hold for further study House Bill 5953, and in its place, we will pass Sub A of 5953. I ask for,
I move that we suspend 5953 and that we move to vote on 5953 sub A. Second.
it's been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, Madam Chair.
There was a motion to hold for further study House Bill to hold indefinitely House Bill 5953 and move forward the Sub A for 5953. Chairman Hull, is that your vote?
Yes.
First Vice Chair Fogarty, is that your vote?
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Speakman, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Alzate, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Cardillo, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Kazarian, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Stephen Lima, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Morales, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Morgan, is that your vote? Representative Morgan,
Unmute yourself.
is that your vote?
Yes. Sorry.
Representative Shanley, is that your vote?
Yes.
That completes the roll call vote. Your motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. We now move on to House Bill 5330 by Representative Knight. I make a motion
Second.
to move
A second.
and second. It has been moved and seconded. Roll call vote, Madam Chair.
There was a motion to move forward for passage, House Bill 5330.
Correct.
Chairman Hull, is that your vote?
That is correct.
First Vice Chair Fogarty, is that your vote?
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Speakman, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Alzate, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Cardillo, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Kazarian, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Stephen Lima, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Morales, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Morgan, is that your vote?
581.
Yes.
Representative Shanley, is that your vote?
Yes.
That completes the roll call vote. Your motion carries.
Thank you. We now move on to Representative Nardone's Bill 5818. Representative Nardone, an act relating to towns and cities. Award municipal contracts. You have the floor, Representative.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. This bill is a pretty simple, straightforward bill. What this bill does is it increases the aggregate amount of the procurements of cities and towns from $10,000 to $25,000 for construction and from $5,000 to $10,000 for all other purchases. These numbers have been on the books for quite a while. They're somewhat antiquated, and a town planner that I know had suggested I take a look at this and increase the bills, and I came to the conclusion that they are very good. It's a very good idea. Towns haven't had a raise, God, I think about 15 years on these numbers. And I just want to add to this that Rep. Edwards also put a bill in on the state level to do the same increases, and I'm probably going to try to combine this bill with Rep. Edwards and put it into one bill, but since it was on the docket, I figured I'd pitch it right now. So, right.
Thank you. Any questions for Representative Nardone? Representative Morales?
Representative, can you just clarify, how long has it been since the last time cities and towns have had this procurement updated?
I don't have the accurate number, but from what this town planner told me, it's been about 10 years.
Oh, okay. I was
So I'm taking him at his word, I'm not...
No, that makes
yeah.
sense. I was just confused if he said 15 or 50.
He said about 10 to 15 years since they've had a raise as far as these procurements.
5882.
Okay, do you want...
Are there any more questions? Seeing none? Any questions on the phone? Thank you. Seeing none, that concludes that bill. Stay right there, young fellow. We're going to move to your bill. Representative Nardone, 5822.
Okay,
Second Vice Chair, hang on one second. Second Vice Chair.
This bill by Representative Nardone is an act relating to state affairs and government, the Department of State, and the award of municipal contracts.
You have the floor.
okay, again, this act would require the Secretary of State to establish a registry for publication of municipal invitations for bids. This act would further provide the municipalities publish notice of invitations for bids with this registry. Right now, when you bid on municipal contracts, you essentially put them in the penny saver, the reminder, or the journal. And what this does is it puts them all in one place on one registry. So when these things go out to bid, people can just look at that registry and have something much more organized and get much more exposure, possibly get more bids.
Are there any questions from the committee for Representative Nardone? Representative Morales?
I just wanted to thank the sponsor for putting this bill in. I think it's essentially basic transparency and something that we should be encouraging at the state level. So thank you.
You're welcome, thanks.
Are there other questions for Representative Nardone?
I have one.
Representative Morgan?
Yeah, Representative Nardone, would this, supplant putting it in the newspaper?
I'm sorry, Rep. Morgan. I didn't-
Municipality do that as well, or is this? Sorry, you there?
I'm sorry, Rep. Morgan, the audio is not, could you repeat that, please?
Would the municipality still be placing their notice of an RFP or for bids, their invitation for bids in the newspaper, or would this supplant it altogether?
I would say that this would be planted all together.
Okay, but then everyone who does this kind of work would know that they can go straight to that website. I think it's a great idea.
Okay, thanks.
Are there other questions for Representative Nardone?
Yes, one more.
Representative Fogarty?
Is this to go along with Representative Chippendale's bill that he had before us about getting rid of doing the advertisements in the local papers?
You know, I'm not sure, I'm not familiar with Rep. Chippendale's bill, but I believe, is Rep. Chippendale on this bill? I think he may have signed on to it.
I think he is.
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
I didn't know
so,
if there was some type of a way that you're trying to,
I imagine if he signed on to it, it was probably a different bill than his.
well, yeah, his bill is just to get rid of it,
Yeah.
doing any local advertising. So just trying to see if this is where you're trying to direct it to go just to the Secretary of State's versus advertising in local papers.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, you didn't know. Okay, all
I
right,
can-
just was wondering. All right, there was a correlation.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Any other questions for Representative Nardone?
Okay.
Is there anyone on the phone? And there's no written testimony on this.
Okay, and just some housekeeping. Don't go anywhere, anybody. We're going to hold for further studies. House Bill 5817 by Representative Cardillo. Hold for further study. House Bill 5818 by Representative Nardone. House Bill 5819, Representative Felipe. House Bill 5820, Representative Hawkins. House Bill we will hold 6037 by Representative Kazarian. House Bill 6038 by Representative Fogarty. House Bill 6039 by Representative Cardillo. And House Bill 6090 by Representative Shawcroft Smith. There's one here that I see for 6092. That we're going to hold for further study. Roll call vote, please.
Should I close the hearing on 5822
First and second,
first?
correct?
Need to-
I second that motion to hold the votes for further study, the bills for further study.
It's been
House-
motion and seconded. Roll call vote.
There was a motion made to hold for further study House Bill 5817, House Bill 5818, House Bill 5819, House Bill 5820, House Bill 5822, House Bill 6037, House Bill 6038, House Bill 6039, and House Bill 6092. Chairman Hull, is that your vote?
That is correct. Also in 5822. That is correct.
First Vice Chair Fogarty, is that your vote?
Yes.
Second Vice Chair Speakman, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Alzate, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Cardillo, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Kazarian, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Stephen Lima, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Morales, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Morgan, is that your vote?
Yes.
Representative Shanley, is that your vote?
Yes.
That completes the roll call vote. Your motion carries.
Thank you, Madam Clerk.
And we're closing the hearing on 5822. Representative Nardone, yes?
Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Madam Vice
Representative.
Chair? That is correct.
Thank you.
So next, we're going to go to House Bill 5819 by Representative Filippi, and this is a act relating to taxation, property subject to taxation, requires nonprofit entity exempt from real property to tax to proper assessor with information every 5 years relating to usage of land, building structures starting December 31st, 2021. And I don't...
Representative Filippi, you have the floor.
Mr. Chair, Madam Vice Chair, thank you very much. This is a simple bill that adds a new section to Title 44, Chapter 3. We have billions of dollars of real estate in the state which is exempt from local property taxation. This really just requires that every 5 years, the owner of that property that is subject to an exemption just provide the tax assessor with proof that that exception still applies.
Thank you. Any questions on the bill? Representative Morales.
I just wanted to thank the sponsor, Representative Filippi. Thank you so much for introducing this bill. As we know, it is common practice in our state for certain entities to register as a nonprofit simply due to the fact that they receive certain tax exemption benefits, not necessarily because of the service they're providing to our communities, most notably Brown University. So just want to thank you again, and I would even suggest that we make some of this assessments every 3 years, just to ensure that there's accountability and transparency.
Thank you, Representative Morales. I'm happy to work with any members of the committee to make this good idea better. But at the same time, we don't want to burden some nonprofits. I'm happy to strike a balance, but I appreciate your support of the bill, and I look forward to talking with you and the other members forward as the session continues.
Okay, are there any other questions for Representative Filippi on this bill? Nope, seeing none, we're going to go to the phone.
Thank you, everyone, and good night.
All right, and we have Daniel Egan from the Association of Independent Colleges and Universities. He is Khan. Oh, this is just, oh, that's written testimony, I apologize. I grabbed the wrong sheet.
Okay, that'll conclude.
That will conclude the hearing on House Bill 5819. Thank you.
Vice Chair Speaker.
Now we move to House Bill 5820 by Representative Hawkins. This is relating to alcoholic beverages, and it requires holders of Class B licenses to offer public food during times alcoholic beverages are sold to the public. Is Representative Hawkins with us?
Any questions on the bill? We have it in motion. No questions on the bill. That will conclude House
Yes, it
Bill
will.
5820.
Next, we're going to go to House Bill
6032.
6032, and that is from our our whip, Catherine Kazarian, who is here, and this is an act relating to a tax agreement between the City of East Providence and ExxonMobil Corporation. Whip Kazarian.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Yes, so this bill, what this bill would do would be allow the City of East Providence to come into a tax treaty agreement with ExxonMobil. I do have a City Council resolution asking for the state of Rhode Island to pass this bill. I'll just give a quick synopsis on this bill. I know our city solicitor is also planning to testify. Basically what happened is ExxonMobil owns a piece of land in East Providence. The City of East Providence assessed it at too high of a value. We were charging them too high of a tax for it. Exxon was going to sue us for the money, but instead we were able to come to an agreement with them. We were able to get a specialized tax assessor to come out to the city, assess the land. It was very expensive for the city in order to pay for him to come out and do that. The city wasn't off by too much, but we were still a little high on the value that we assessed them at. So instead of the city having to refund the money back to Exxon, they came to an agreement on what they would be charging them for a tax. And all this would allow us to do is, instead of having the city continually bring a tax assessor, an expensive tax assessor, to come out and assess that land, they would just agree with what this tax assessor said and charge ExxonMobil at that rate. But again, that is just the agreement that the city came to with ExxonMobil. All this legislation would do would allow for the city to have that agreement with ExxonMobil. So that's the gist of the bill, but I'm happy to take any questions.
Are there any questions for Whip Kazarian?
There is a resolution with that, correct?
Yes, I have the resolution here, and I'll hand that to you, Chairman.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Just on hers?
There is somebody else called, it is Mike Costello, he is the East Providence City Solicitor, and a former representative. Former Representative Mike Costello, it's nice to hear your voice. Welcome.
Hello, how are you, everyone?
Very good, very good. So you're here to talk about House Bill 6037. The floor is yours.
I am. Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. A pleasure to appear before your committee, not visually, which is good for you. Congratulations to Chairman Hall and to my former colleagues on the committee, and I know you have a tough year ahead of you, so I'm glad that you're there. I'm glad that I'm not there right now. So anyway, I am here to talk about H6037. I want to thank Whip Kazarian for sponsoring this bill on behalf of the city of East Providence. I'm testifying in my capacity as the city solicitor. Very Chairman of the Municipal Affairs Committee. This bill is part of the global settlement with ExxonMobil over a 10-year tax dispute with them. We have come to a final settlement on property owned by ExxonMobil with the city. This agreement, this bill basically just allows us to enter into a 10-year tax treaty with ExxonMobil, which basically helps the city in that we will know what the assessment is on this large piece of property for the next 10 years, and ExxonMobil will also know as well. And there are other provisions that were part of the settlement. They're really not relevant to this committee, but it did have the full support of the East Providence City Council. The settlement agreement has already been actually approved and ratified. This is just the last piece of it. We felt to make sure that everything was buttoned up that we needed special legislation giving us this ability to enter into a 10-year tax treaty with this corporation. It is modeled after a similar tax treaty bill that the town of Scituate has with the Providence Water Supply Board because they own so much property within Scituate. We just felt that it was necessary to get this approval and this legislation passed. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions for the East Providence Solicitor? Yes, we have Representative Morales. Thank you. Go right
First
ahead.
and foremost, just thank you for your testimony. Does the city of East Providence currently have any active tax treaty agreements in place right now?
Not that I'm aware of, other than maybe with some. Not that I'm aware of. Certainly not this large tax treaty. There may be some tax stabilization agreements with some prior developers, but I'm not aware of any currently. But, since I've been there, this is the first one.
All right, thank you.
You're welcome.
All right, are there any other questions? No, thank you, Solicitor. We appreciate your input. And with that, there's no other questions here. We're going to close the hearing on House Bill 6037.
So
Thank you.
nice to hear from you, Mike.
Yeah, bye, Mike.
Okay, we will now move to House Bill 6038. Vice Chair Speakman.
So we open the hearing on Bill 6038, which is by Representative Fogarty, an act relating to, or by Chairwoman Fogarty, an act relating to towns and cities subdivision of land, allows minor subdivision to remain minor and subject to the lesser time period for certification, and also add more time for certification at the master and preliminary plan phases on major subdivisions and land developments. Representative Fogarty?
Thank you very much, Vice Chair. This is a bill that I've been putting in for a couple of years. It's about planning and development in the state, and with our planning departments, and there's going to be some people who are going to call in who are planners around the state. There's been a push to try to reduce with major subdivisions and minor subdivisions, lesser time periods for certification for planning boards to go and do their reviews of projects. So the time for the master plan decision is increased to 120 days, and that time for preliminary plan decision is restored to 120 days. There was a push to reduce that to about 90 days. And my particular stance on this is that I think planning board should have the time to review. If you have the time to review these projects, there's less problems down the road and less chance of a town or city being sued by rushing projects through, and that's what happens. And so this is really, I think, a protection by just really granting, the 30 more days to make sure that all the i's are dotted and t's are crossed. Devil is in the detail when you have projects and development. So that's what this particular bill is trying to enforce or try to recommend. So with that, I know there are people here to testify, and there was some written testimony. So I will. Oh, are there any questions?
Are there any questions from the committee for Chairwoman Fogarty?
I don't have a question, but I would like to, the record to reflect my attendance and my vote also to be recorded to hold for further study and other votes that were taken.
And we moved 2 bills and 1 sub-A.
So
That is
moved
correct.
that as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Again-
And we have on the phone, Bill Walsh. Yes, from the Rhode Island Bar Association. Mr. Walsh, are you there?
Good evening, Madam Chair, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chairs, members of the committee. Bill Walsh on behalf of the Rhode Island Builders Association. Here in unfortunate opposition to the legislation as presented. I wasn't able to catch all the remarks as presented by the sponsor, but I'm sure it was as diligent and comprehensive as it always is. And what we happen to have a difference of opinion on this. We do agree in the sense that we want to make sure the local planners and everyone have adequate time and resources to make their well-informed decisions. We just happen to believe that the time that it takes to get through the development process is already overly onerous and burdensome and works against the ability to navigate this. As many of the members are aware, when some reforms were implemented a few years ago, we took a process that was over 400 days to inside of a year. Massachusetts continues to do these reviews in as comprehensive a manner, but in a much more expedited timeline, a little over 100 days in some cases. So we believe that time is often a weapon against development, and it's against a lot of housing, especially in some cases affordable housing developments. And we think that the process could be improved in a different way, and we're happy to always work with the sponsor and others to try and figure out how best to come to that balance, but unfortunately we're here in opposition of the bill. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Are there any questions from Mr. Walsh? No? Thank you for your testimony. Next on the phone, we have Maria Mack. Okay. Hi, Maria. This is June Speakman from Municipal Government and Housing. You're here to testify on House Bill 6038. Please proceed.
Thank you. My name is Maria Mack. Good evening, Chair Hull and members of the committee. I am a long-term planning board member, 24 plus years, and also a member of the Rhode Island Chapter of the American Planning Association. We strongly support H6038, which we believe makes a needed adjustment in the state-mandated time periods for municipal review of large developments and subdivisions in Rhode Island. We would like to acknowledge this support of the sponsors, Reps Fogarty, McEntee, Chair Hull, Tansey, and all others. We truly appreciate this broad-based support. Planners, particularly those in the suburban and rural towns with smaller staffs, and now with an inundation of development proposals, have presented these simple and what we think are equitable and fair adjustments to the time periods that were originally put into place almost 30 years ago when the Land Development and Subdivision Review Enabling Act was first enacted. Since that time, both the Subdivision Enabling Act and the Zoning Enabling Act have been amended in a rather piecemeal fashion, often in a manner detrimental to the position of staff and boards charged with implementing them and enforcing them. Unfortunately, these changes are most often made without prior consultation with the municipalities. That means that APA and other groups are caught reacting to and opposing legislation rather than proposing legislation that can improve the land development review experience for everyone involved. However, with this bill, we have proposed to bring back some of the time periods for review reduced by legislation in 2017 while making reductions in other areas as a gesture of fairness and compromise. There is a chart that you will find attached to the written testimony from Jane Weidman that explains these changes in more detail. As you know from last week's testimony, we support the establishment of the Land Use Commission, and we have several ideas to make subdivision review more efficient and fair to everyone. However, a COVID-induced development trend is surging across Rhode Island. Having the extra 30 days for review of large projects is not just important, it's necessary now for many of our communities that are buried in projects that have multiple lengthy meetings per month associated with them. Adequate review is critical as these are multiple areas in large developments that must be considered, such as traffic and circulation, public safety, stormwater, lighting, landscaping, and open space. Communities need the time to review projects in a thorough manner and give everyone an opportunity to weigh in. Allowing for up to 120 days when necessary provides an important opportunity for ongoing communication and collaboration between municipalities, applicants, and the public. This can often ensure better solutions and outcomes for all. We ask that you support this bill and give some time back to our communities, even if you recommend that these time periods be subject to a sunset clause until a more thorough review can be done under the auspices of the Land Use Commission. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Mack. Any questions for Ms. Mack?
I was just going to say, I don't know if you heard that we did approve the
Yes.
House Resolution 5950 earlier this evening. So, I know that
Yes.
the planners are trying to support and the development, and they just, again, I understand that they're just concerned about making sure mistakes aren't made, and they don't want to be rushed through the process. That's all that you're really asking for. Thank you.
Yes.
Any other questions for Ms. Mack? Thank you for your testimony. Next on the phone, we have Jane Weidman. Thank you. Hey, Ms. Weidman, this is Second Vice Chair Speakman of House Committee on Municipal Government and Housing. You're here to testify on House Bill 6038. Please proceed.
Yes, I am. Good evening, Chairman Hawkins, members of the committee. I believe you have a letter that I sent yesterday. I just want to emphasize that the planners have been working pretty hard over the last few years in dealing with this issue. We have submitted a bill over the last 2 years to restore the additional 30 days that we need to review major land developments and major subdivisions. And it's particularly acute this year because, as you know, most of the communities are just being inundated with projects. In my particular town, we have a series of major land developments and major subdivisions. Our agendas are packed. We need the time to properly review the applications, and we need the time to get them on the agendas and allow the community and the neighbors and the board to properly review the applications. When the amendments first went in 2017, our feeling was that they were done in a rather haphazard way. There were no amendments to minor subdivision review and process. There was only a cutting of the time periods that communities had to certify the first phase and the second phase, and to make decisions on the first phase and the second phase of these very large projects. But there were no equivalent changes to other phases. So we spent quite a bit of time going through the time periods, coming up with ideas that could work for the developers or the applicants as well as the board to make it fair. And we strongly believe that to properly review large projects, we need that additional 30 days. And I think a point we've made repeatedly is that this is never intended to slow down economic development or the ultimate project. It gives us the time to commit to making a better project for the community at large. So we urge you to restore these time periods, and I think if you take a look at the table that was attached to my letter, you can see that it makes sense. And we do have some good ideas. I think Maria mentioned that we're willing to share with the land use, to further work with the builders and other groups to make this a better process. So, thank you.
Thank you for your testimony. Does anyone have questions for Ms. Weidman? Okay, seeing none, thank you very much for your testimony. We have,
Thank you.
as Ms. Weidman pointed out, one piece of written testimony, and that is from her, representing the American Planning Association, and she is, as she said, in favor. That closes the hearing on House Bill 6038.
Let us now move to House Bill 6039 by Representative Cardillo,
And this is an act.
First Vice Chair.
This is an act relating to taxation property subject to taxation exemption, extends the manufacturing, machinery and equipment exemption. And Representative Cardillo, you are here, so the floor is yours.
Chairman, members of the committee, this bill extends the manufacturing, machinery, and equipment exemption. Current law right now has not been upgraded to reflect the changes associated with equipment purchased by manufacturers. Machine tool companies have instituted various new purchasing methods for their equipment, such as the allowance for bank funding, leases, both short and long term, as a couple of examples. Many manufacturers also purchase used equipment as well as new. This bill would then cover the acquisition of a used piece of equipment for their operation. In these difficult times, this is a prime example why we need the changes in language to ensure that the tax-exempt status covers all of the various acquisition methods. Rhode Island manufacturers worked hard with the administration to keep this sector open throughout the pandemic. The amendment will support a manufacturer's ability to maintain the tax-exempt status on new and used equipment. The new language is a way to clarify the exemption and allow the manufacturing sector to continue to support Rhode Island's economy. Nationwide manufacturing is leading the U.S. economy in coming out of this pandemic. This change in my bill would support this effort. This act would extend, all it would do would extend the manufacturing, machinery, and equipment exemption by eliminating the requirement the machinery and equipment be new, and that it must be purchased after December 31st, 1974. And any questions?
Thank you. Any questions?
I'm just wondering, I have a quick question. So this is for your municipalities to make tax exempt off the machinery and tangible assets in some of the businesses? Is that what you're, I'm trying to...
Yes, mostly big manufacturing companies that employ a lot of people. They use big machinery.
So I'm just trying to wonder, because that a lot of towns use that as part of their tax base, to, that offsets tax base. So
all new machinery is exempt now. What I'm stating is it's just for the old machinery, because a lot of companies buy used machinery and used equipment, and that's all it's for, just for the used part, because the new is already exempt.
Okay, okay, thank you. Sorry, yes, Whip, Kazarian.
Sorry.
Did you have a question?
I thought the other vice chair had a question. I was saying she could go first.
Oh, no.
So I think I'm just going to actually, it's a question, but like a clarifying question. So what you're saying is right now, for any company or manufacturing company that has new machinery, it's already tax exempt.
Exactly.
So this would just exempt any other machinery that they have that might be used.
Exactly.
And include it in that tax exemption.
Right.
For new, okay, all right. Okay, I think I get it now. Maybe, I don't know if you have a fiscal note, but maybe a fiscal note might help us just see how much that would cost the tax base. But I get what it's going, and it's great. Thank you.
Very good question.
Thank you.
Representative Morales.
Yeah, similar to Representative Kazarian's in terms of clarifying, how common is like used manufacturing as opposed to new equipment?
Here in the state of Rhode Island, to be honest with you, I'm really not sure, but I don't think it's a lot, put it that way. It's very minimal.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions for Representative Cardillo? Hearing none, we have written testimony from David Schernevert from the Rhode Island Manufacturers Association, who is pro the bill, and there is no call-ins on this bill. So with that, that ends the testimony on House Bill 6039. Thank you, Representative.
We now move to Representative Showcroft Smith. We're sorry you've been waiting, Representative, and you started with us early. Vice Chair Speakman.
This opens the hearing on House Bill 6092 by Representative Shawcross Smith. It's an act relating to taxation, collection of taxes, prohibits the tax sale of properties when litigation is pending, disputing the amount owed. Representative Shawcross Smith.
It's no problem at all. I actually got caught up on all my emails, so it worked out very well. Good evening, Chairman and committee members. I was asked to submit Bill number 6092, titled Collection of Taxes by a Constituent. The purpose of this bill is that no municipality may conduct a tax sale when litigation is pending. And the gentleman from my town of Lincoln is supposed to be on to testify on this bill, mostly from his life experience. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Representative. We have one person testifying by phone. John Cullen. Mr. Cullen, you're here before the House Committee on Municipal Government and Housing to testify on House Bill 6092. Please proceed.
Okay, am I ready to testify?
Yes, you are, sir. Please proceed.
Okay, thank you very much. This is John Cullen. I want to thank Mr. Alan Rudolph, and I want to thank my representative, Mary Ann Shawcross, for introducing this bill. This is an amendment of the general laws, Chapter 44(7-25), would allow a taxpayer the right not to be placed on tax sale if the taxpayer is litigating a tax dispute with the municipality. The municipality's power to place a person on tax sale is an enormous power that can be cruel and an unusual punishment. Our first Chief Justice, John Marshall, ruled that the power to tax is the power to destroy. Two cases in point. In 1999, Mrs. Margaret Pedersen, who was the chair of the Cumberland Conservation Commission, and my friend had a tax dispute with the town of Cumberland that could not be resolved, and she lost several of her properties to a tax sale. A tax letter to the editor of the Valley Breeze, which I sent out to the committee, and I gave to my rep Mary Ann to share with the committee. I hope everybody had an opportunity to read that because it's so powerful. I myself, John J. Cullen of Lincoln, had disputes with my town of Lincoln, whereby my property was placed on tax sale in the years 2006, 2007, and 2008. This legislation would be just and fair in that it would give a taxpayer equal standing with his government servant to have a court of law give a just and equitable adjudication to the tax dispute. I also wanted to say, if you have not read the letter to the editor, Margaret Pedersen sent to the Valley Breeze in Cumberland, Lincoln here in 1999, I just want to give a couple of recaps on what Margaret had to say. She has passed away a long time ago, but it's a very sad letter. I hope everybody reads it. I want to say, on behalf of Margaret Pedersen said, I asked my lawyer to appeal this case, and I was told that not only would the town of Cumberland not allow my appeal with full payment, unless full payment of my back taxes, but they would not even consider exemptions of some portions of the interest or a reassessment of the land that is wet and unbuildable. What a sad ending to my life, she said in this letter, and my commitment to the town. And in closing, I'd like to say what Margaret said, I may be old and weak, but I am not stupid. If this is happening to me, how many other people, particularly the elderly, are also being taken advantage of? I am making this public because I hope that if this doesn't help me, it may help others. And Margaret Pedersen's behalf and myself, I asked the committee to read her letter. Please give it good consideration and put it and approve it to go to a passage on the floor. Thank you very much.
John, very powerful, John, very powerful. Thank you.
Are there any questions from the committee for Mr. Cullen? Or for Representative Shawcross Smith? Thank you for your testimony. And we have one piece of written testimony, and that is from Mr. Cullen himself. And if there are no other questions, that closes the hearing on 6092.
Thank you for the opportunity. Good evening.
Thank you.
Yes,
Thank you. And we now move to Representative Cortrafran's Bill 5817.
Representative Cortrafran's Bill 5817 is an act relating to towns and cities zoning ordinances, and this is put in by request, and it provides a procedure for homeowners to submit a municipal zoning board of review or municipal official or agency for a review to determine whether or not a proposed use under this chapter, requires a special use permit. Representative Corfran is in another meeting with another bill, but again, she put this in for request, and it would provide homeowners an option as far as looking at how to propose their land use under a chapter, if it could be used as a special permit use. If there's any questions, I'll take them, and I'll try to answer them as best as I can. Yes, Representative Speakman.
Thank you, Vice Chair. This looks to me as if individual homeowners could apply for what we call spot zoning at the municipal level.
That's what it
which
looks
sort of
like.
undermines the whole purpose of zoning and of planning. So I would have some questions, I think, for the representative about this. I do understand it was put in by request. So we should look carefully at this. Thank you.
Yes, I agree with you. From my days on the council, that does look like spot zoning, and that would be how I would look at it. Well, any other questions? Nope. Hearing none, then that concludes the hearing on House Bill. There is no written testimony, there's no call-ins, so it concludes House Bill 5817. Thank you.
And that will conclude this evening's hearing in the House Committee on Municipal Government. I make a motion that, I want to say thank you to everyone who attended this evening, and it's a Thursday night, and everybody who was on the phone. Thank you very much. That will conclude. I make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
So adjourned. Thank you.